a few things to think about when you're looking at sentiment and momentum coming out of the afternoon, because a lot of what I share from time to time is really focused on what happens much earlier in the day. So, what happens during, say, this block of time here from 9:30 to the 10 o'clock end of clearing, and then what happens as we progress through the day. Of course, a couple things. Remember, midday from 11:30 Eastern to 1:30 Eastern, I'd really like for everyone to really rethink short-term time frame setups. Specifically, that would be 5, 3, and 1 minute charts. I'd rather you focus on longer term, if anything at all. I'm very suspect of things that happen between those 2 hours, 11:30 Eastern to 1:30 Eastern. It's the lunchtime doldrums. But as we come out of lunch on the East Coast and we get to 1:30, we can look for the 12:30 Central, 1:30 bid. What happens as we come out of lunch? Or, if you don't want to have a buy bias, just reassess. What I would like everyone to do at 1:30 is just step in and reassess what the market's doing. At 1:30, what's going on? Do I have propulsion dots? What color grab candles do I have? Am I above or below the sentiment line? What is the angle of the wave, right? What kind of organization do I have by way of propulsion dots? What's happening with our propulsion dot settings? The 8 over the 13, the 8 heading above the 13, or the 8 heading above the 21, if that were to be bullish. That's a large reason why the propulsion dots would plot, right? It's a way to replace exponential moving averages on your chart, and it's also a way to, I also think it's the best visualization of a cross. When does that shorter EMA cross the longer EMA? So we like an 813 and an 821. Those are the ones that I like to look at. And then, what has happened since that 1:30 bid. So if anything, even if you don't want to go straight to a 1:30 bid scenario, at least reassess what's happening at 1:30. I think it's going to point you in the right direction, put you in a good spot to be ready for really what we would call the second half of the day. And you'll see since that point in time, propulsion dots lit up. The green ones, by the way, are the 8 going through the 21. So the green dots gave us better view of an acceleration going into the afternoon. The green grab candles, again, the way in which the candles are plotting in terms of their relation to the 34 EMA wave, that's giving me even more bullishness. So think about everything that I have going for me. I've got my prop dots and that 8, 13, 21 relationship. I've got the wave giving me a green. Now, this here is really just kind of automating automation. It's just a really great way. I call it the dashboard. I have a number of other indicators that I'll populate along here, but I just kind of call it the dashboard because it's going to give me an instant read on what's happening on grab candles. So it's a bit of a redundancy, but it's automating automation. It's confirming what you would see perhaps on the chart. So if you want to look at it as a confirmation tool, and a quick one at that, time saving and confirmation tool, again, I don't see any problem in simplifying, even if it causes a little bit of redundancy, quite frankly. So that's what we have right now in the NQ. And a few things also to consider at the same time. During all of that, here's the 130, right? That's 130 right there. And then look at the sentiment line we're dealing with. So a couple of things happened right around 130 as well. We started to establish a little bit more strength above the sentiment line. So that also leads me to be much more bullish, leading me to believe in higher highs. Let's do this one more time, just really quickly here on the ES. And this is about the afternoon. How do you treat the second half of the day, and when does the second half of the day begin? So we can do the same thing once again. I'm going to grab 130 right here, and then I want to see where that sentiment line is. It's way up there. But what's happening at 130? So we're bouncing around. We're starting to get green. In fact, we started that about 10 minutes before the 130. By 130, I've got prop dots. I've got more green grab candles. So I definitely have a little bit more of a bullish momentum, but I still haven't gotten above the sentiment line. Right, now one thing to remember is if the NASDAQ is heading up, pretty good chance, unless the Dow happens to be tanking, there's a pretty good chance the S&P is going to give us an opportunity to get long. Now, this would be the sentiment line indicator, and I don't think it's been as easy necessarily to get long via that 130 bid or that strength. Another thing you can do if you're looking at the sentiment line, but perhaps you want to look at a 3 or a 5 minute time frame, find perhaps a time frame where if the downtrend intraday is giving us a wave reversal. That's another thing we can look at. Is there a wave reversal happening? Is there some sort of 3, maybe 5 minute time frame that's giving us a wave reversal, in which case you're waiting, and I don't think this is a great example. I'd say the 3 minute might be a little bit better, but you're waiting for the switch candle. What are you waiting for? And again, not a textbook scenario, but, well, look at all the propulsion dots telling us we had momentum to the downside while we did. And then look at what happened. After 130, right there, what happened? We switched from red bearish to blue neutral. Red bearish to blue neutral. And you could see that switch, kind of went back and forth a little bit, but no problem. All this is telling us is there's a different momentum that might be dominating price action. And it's more neutral. Still bearish overall, but again, there's a little bit of a neutral market trend. And then here's your green candle. The green candle ticks above a few things. It got above the sentiment line. It got through the wave, got through basically 27, but 29 even, maybe 27, 28 and 3/4. And that is your bullish. That's your switch right there. As soon as we go through the 34 EMA on the high, that's your switch. That's your switch candle. Okay, so a little trickier there. Sure, we have the shorter term moving averages. Again, the propulsion stopped, and it's a little too soon to call it a great uptrend, but sentiment wise, I'm going to go more. I'm still fairly neutral. I think there's only 3 green grab candles here, but I'm going to start to shift this neutral market sentiment. I'm going to keep an eye on this thing. I'm going to shift this market sentiment to slightly more bullish, right? Still a little sideways, but sideways to bullish, right? And this is just breaking down a 1 minute chart here for the second half of the day.